Peace and greetings. Presenting the Network of Awareness podcast radio station, providing in-depth information on society and culture in America and abroad, bringing you truth messages of inspiration, keen insight, reputable interviews, and so much more. So now, for the truth you've been waiting for, your host of the Network of Awareness podcast, ORRA, the informationalist.
Please just tell me what's happening to me in plain English without the mumbo jumbo.
Yes, peace and greetings, people. This is ORRA the Informationalist, and we got another great show for you lined up today on the Spiritual Fire and Fellowship series, and this is Season 5, Great Understandings. And like I mentioned to you before, we're going to have a lot of interviews with different peoples from different walks of life. Now, the brother that I'm bringing on to the show, many of you know who he is. He is definitely not a stranger to the Network of Awareness. And I have coming on to the show none other than Take One from Thinking to Rise. And what we're going to do today, Take One and I, is we are going to discuss Celebrites, the tribe of Satan. And there's a lot to discuss in regards to this, because what's happening a lot with celebrities is that they are jumping on the woke bandwagon, and a lot of people are falling for the bamboozlement, for the fuckery, for the manipulation and deception. So Take One and I are really going to dig deep into some things that maybe some of you may be aware of or maybe not, but we are going to bring it to the light today. Because in the times of Revelations, the Most High said that he is going to reveal all. And it's our job as servants of the Most High to bring this out into the forefront the best way we know how, with the gifts that have been given. So without further ado, let's introduce Brother Take One onto the show, and let's give him a warm welcome and a round of applause. Let's go. Shalom, brother, and welcome to the Network of Awareness, and glad to have you on Season 5 for the first time of these great understandings.
Yeah, shalom more. I mean, as always, it's an honor to always be on the show, whenever you invite me. It's also an honor to be a part of the, Season 5. I know this episode, forgive me, but this season, is loaded with a lot of goodies, and I'm just glad that I get to be a part of it. Praise to the Most High.
Absolutely, brother. So I decided to call it Celebrites, the tribe of Satan, for many, many reasons. One being that there's so much happening in the commercial media as well as social media, which social media has become the dominant force of influence when it comes to media. Even though the commercial media is still on, your regular channels, Channel 7 and 5 and 2 and 4 and ABC and CBS, and they got their podcasts and they have their, their TV shows and stuff like that. And they still seem somewhat relevant But social media has become the norm. It's become the new commercial media. It's become the new media of influence. And these celebrites, which I call them, a lot of them are jumping onto the bandwagon of this woke movement where they are starting to speak truth, or as far as giving the perception through their controlled opposition ways to somewhat be anti-government, be all about Christ, be about the Messiah, speaking truth about the true Hebrews, the true Jews, painting melanated people now in a positive light. But like many of us, and like you and myself, we've known this to be true for decades, or for as long as we've been in this truth. But all of a sudden, you now have this big woke movement where everybody is now speaking this so-called truth from their perspective. And a lot of people are gravitating to it, thinking that these celebrites have turned a new leaf or are finally coming out and they've had enough so that they can start speaking the truth and start revealing things. But for many of us, or should I say some of us in the know, that we know about propaganda and the manipulation behind controlled opposition, we know this is just a big shit show, and it's another part of the dog and pony show that's been going on forever. So something that I wanted to talk to you about in regards to this is when you see these celebrites speaking truth that many of us have known, what are some of the things that you've noticed in the way that they are conveying or expressing these messages?
Well, I mean, one thing that I've noticed is that it's always, some type of hidden agenda associated with it. I mean, nothing that they do, and when I mean they, I mean the powers that be, the ones who pull the strings and, really run the show, not the celebs or the public figures themselves. One thing that they always tend to do, or have the tendency of always doing, is, pretty much playing chess with the mind of the masses. I mean, everything that they present to you is not, necessarily what it seems. You know what I mean? They're really, really great at getting you to think one way, but then, when you least expect it, they hit you with that sucker punch, type of thing. You know what I mean? They never let you know what the right hand is doing. And so, like, even right now, for instance, with, Ye or Kanye, even though that's one of the most talked about things, I can pretty much almost guarantee you that even though that's what most people are focusing on, or in Trump and Biden, the election and all this and that, amongst all of that, that they're working on something that, the public is not even going to be ready for. I mean, that I can pretty much guarantee you. And when we all bear witness to it, the people are going to just be totally shocked. But people like you and I, who can see past that, because we're thinking, beyond, surface level, information and presentations, we're already going to just be like, oh, well, we kind of already saw that coming, even though we don't know this maybe in detail, like 100% exactly what it is, you know what I mean? But at the same time, you're not going to be caught completely unaware, because we're thinking on a higher playing field. So, I mean, every time I see the celebrities, man, it's just more and more of the same thing, seeing them speak, they all just seem to be programmed, man. Programmed. They're not all the way there. Just totally mind controlled. They got to mind the words that they say. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's kind of hard to really take anything that they really say seriously, knowing how under control they are, because they're not the ones who run the show, even though people love to, in their minds, think that they do. That's why they cling to them so heavily. But that's pretty much what I, absorb and, take in every time I see them speak. It doesn't really matter who the hell it is, or what kind of, they may have in that realm. So, yeah, that's all I got.
You remember when I was talking about the good cop versus bad cop president scenario, where something that's unfolding right before our eyes and it's been unfolding for the past 4 years or 3, is this whole thing with Biden versus Trump. And how Biden stole the presidency. So it's like Biden's the bad president and Trump is made to look like he is the second coming of the Messiah. And he's going to just save the country, and that he was such a great president, which we all know many of us know that's not true. But they paint this picture like he's such a good president, that he did so much. And all of it is lies. But people gravitate to him because he's a narcissist. You and I discussed that, and there's a lot of people talking about this. There's going to be so much happening in 2023. 2023 is going to be a great year in the sense of things unfolding, but it's also going to be a very challenging year because there's going to be so many bad things happening that are culminating from what's been happening this year. And many of us feel it in our spirit. Like, we just know that there are changes happening, especially with the world economics and the things that they're planning to put into effect when it comes to currency and many other things. When it comes to this whole presidency thing, we're going to see a lot of rivalry between Democrat and Republican starting next year, now that this man is running for election again. But something that I don't hear really anybody talking about, which we're going to talk about today, is this whole Yay 24. And all of a sudden, we're starting to see this Yay 24 where people are saying that Kanye for president or Yay for president, Yay 24. And I had mentioned to you privately, I said, let's talk about this because I'm seeing Kanye have an interview literally every day with a new or with a different podcasting network, with a reporter, a journalist, or somebody that's in some way, shape, or form having some type of media platform. And it's like this dude is having an interview literally every day with a different person. And he's just, supposedly giving the perception that he's speaking his mind and he's speaking the truth about the Most High, about how Hebrews are the real Jews, or at least Hebrews, black people are the real Jews. I mean, all this stuff that he's saying, and people are gravitating to it. He's talking about the industry. He's talking about his wife. He's talking about Trump. He's talking about so many things that have been presented on social media, on channels like YouTube that's been allowed to be presented, and many other platforms of people that have their own platforms. And of course, all the information that's been put out from the past that's now being redistributed on the internet, like a John Todd. John Todd was breaking down the music industry before a lot of people that swear that they're the GOAT. We're not going to mention any names, but there's people that swear they're the GOAT of bringing out information about the music industry when there was people, many people way before them that was breaking it down better than them. And John Todd being one of those because he was actually in it. So you have all this information readily available. So any of these Celebrites can take that information and run with it. And we have to remember too that these peoples are great actors. They're great deceivers. Even the artists, the music artists, they're great deceivers too, because they're not telling you who's really in charge. And Kanye right now is making it look like he's going against the power structure, when in reality, we know through controlled opposition, he's serving that power structure for their agenda. So with all that being said, brother, what is your insight on this that we discussed about this whole, I feel like they are grooming for Kanye to possibly, and this is just my opinion. This is just an intuitive thought. I'm not saying it's a fact, but I feel like Kanye is being groomed to run for president. And I think that a lot of people, if he was to do so, and of course be in the Republican Party, because that's the party he would represent, I think a lot of people would be down for that, believe in it, and give energy to that. So I wanted to get your insight and what you think about that when I first brought it to your attention.
Well, when you first brought it to my attention, I was just like, president, wait, what do you mean? What are you, serious? I mean, how do you go from, this musical artist, / producer, very established producer, to, now you're running for president, even though he's not actually deliberately running for it, but at the same time, like the thought of it, like the whole grooming process, because everything, nothing just happens like outright, everything is like, led up, you let things marinate, and then gradually over time, that's what it just comes to be. That's how it comes into fruition. But at the same time, I was just thinking to myself also, based on what you told me, just on some of the, people who have been put in, office, politically, not having political backgrounds, such as, Donald Trump, Ronald Reagan, and, others, they don't have a political background, but at the same time, they've managed to find themselves holding, office, politically, and so the whole grooming process, for Kanye, I mean, I'm not too surprised, because there's one thing, once again, about how the elites operate. They love to foreshadow things way beforehand. I mean, you look at Kobe Bryant, when he passed, just like a year or so ago, maybe like 2 years. I mean, they foreshadowed this man's death, on an episode of The Simpsons in the 90s. I mean, they pretty much already had his lifeline scripted on, what's going to happen and how it's going to go down. The plane, I believe it was like
the helicopter
or something like that. Yeah, the helicopter. Yeah. Forgive me if I'm wrong on that, but they even foreshadowed that. They even showed the man how many rings he would win. 5 rings, all of that. They already had this man's lifeline scripted out. Even Donald Trump. I mean, come on now. Same thing in The Simpsons. Pretty much foreshadowing the election between him and Hillary Clinton, right? And so we already know that, they have a knack for foreshadowing things, because they love to give you the impression that, they're just in control and they run everything. And just like with those 2 examples that I just told you about, like with Kobe, and then also with, Donald Trump, running against, Hillary in the election, right? Which, Donald Trump won. It's the same thing with, Kanye, this whole, Ye 24, all of that. And then just all the publicity that he's been getting, up until this point. Even he too, being president has been foreshadowed as well. Me and you, we discussed this, right? For those of you who don't know, there's a song called Black Friday, and the 2 artists that were on the song was Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole. I mean, you guys are pretty much, familiar with these 2. If you're keen to, I guess, music, or, your hip hop heads, you love rap and all that. But, these 2 men, just like all the rest of the celebrities or Celebrites, right, in regards to the title of the show, I mean, they're all just controlled. And in that song, it's pretty much foreshadowed, Kanye, running for president and pretty much winning. I mean, and this song is 7 years old, might I add you. And just the title itself, Black Friday, when we literally just got away from Black Friday not too long ago. So that's why I'm just trying to say, I mean, that's why you got to pick up on these things, man. They love to play chess, man. They're not playing checkers with the minds of the masses. They're playing chess. You just got to be keen to the little things that they do. They love to foreshadow things. And so him being groomed out and the possibility of him even running for president, I wouldn't be surprised. It literally would not surprise me whatsoever if he actually did do it. And if he actually did, take office, you know what I'm saying? But then, the question, I guess, or the obvious elephant in the room would at least for me, that is, personally speaking. And I told you this, like, to what end? What would be the agenda? What would be the plan of actually having him hold office for real? Because being president, that's not just, come on now, that's, a highly coveted position. You know what I'm saying? You're right at the forefront of everything. Everybody's looking to you for pretty much everything. You know what I mean? And so what would be his end game? What would be the goal? Or even really his end game? What would be the elite's end game by placing him there as the pawn that he is, right? So that's all I have on that.
Well said, brother. And I'm so glad that you pointed out these lyrics. So what I'm going to do right now, let me see if I can pull this up here. Okay. So, brothers and sisters, as you can see here, and let me see if I can make this screen a little bit wider. For presentation purposes, those that are listening to the podcast, I'm going to be promoting this particular snippet clip onto my social media handles. And I'm going to show with take, and let me change the screen here so that way, okay, boom. So we're going to start from this song, Black Friday, and we're going to play it. Then we're going to rewind it and actually read out the verses that Kendrick Lamar is rapping and rhyming. And this is a song with J. Cole called Black Friday, like Take One Step. Now pay close attention to the lyrics, because what Take was talking about with people like Donald Trump and many others like Kobe Bryant, there's this predictive programming thing that they do. And it's really subliminal. It's basically planting a subliminal seed into the subconscious mind so that when it does happen, you already given it energy and have accepted it because your subconscious mind has received it already. A lot of hypnotherapists do this, hypnosis, magicians do this. This is psychological warfare at its best. This is magic. This is spiritual warfare at its best. So let's take a listen to this song real quick, or this quick snippet of the verse, and then we'll come back and rewind it and actually read it out.
Where every other hour since Eddie Bowers and stash boxes and lead showers, breaking the padlock and the dead coward, dying 1,000 deaths, entire lion surround itself with bears, watching nigga, you share profit. This is what they want, I'm the one, this is vintage from 1980 some, I'm the son of the pioneer that got you near the sun, play with him, bitch you better off voting for Donald Trump. I'm yelling Mr. Kanye West for president, he probably let me get some head inside the residence. I'm in the White House going all out, bumping college dropout. God bless Americans.
Let's hear that one more time, and I'm going to bring it back to, instead of 111, I'm going to bring it back to 130.
For Donald Trump, I'm yelling Mr. Kanye West for president. He probably let me get some head inside the residence. I'm in the White House going all out, bumping college dropout. God bless Americans.
Let's hear it one more time from the beginning of that quick snippet of the verse.
Nigga, you share profit. This is what they want, I'm the one. This is vintage from 1980 some. I'm the son of the pioneer that got you near the sun. Play with him, bitch you better off voting for Donald Trump. I'm yelling Mr. Kanye West for president. He probably let me get some head inside the residence. I'm in the White House going all out, bumping college dropout. God bless Americans.
And there you go. So now, let's bring it back, and I'm going to let take it from here in regards to reading the verse. And if you could do the honors, take and just read from the top of this particular snippet of the verse, and then we're going to break this snippet of the bars that he spits in this song called Black Friday.
You know, it says, this is what they want, I'm the one. This is vintage from 1980 some. I'm the son of the pioneer that got you near the sun. Play with them, you know, that you better off voting for Donald Trump. I mean, voting for Donald Trump. I mean, once again, and then you tie this in with the subliminals or the foreshadowment that they showed in the episode of The Simpsons, where it shows him, you know what I'm saying, like the race, you know, him, you know, winning and outweighing, you know, Hillary Clinton, you know what I'm saying, because, you know, Donald Trump was obviously Republican and Hillary, she was on the Democratic side. And it shows that he's pretty much, you know, outweighing her and beating her, you know what I'm saying, in the race. And then he ultimately won. And then it's like now, you know what I'm saying, here we are again, you know, Trump and Biden, you know what I'm saying, in this political, you know, race that they're in, right, that everybody's just losing their minds over. Oh, make sure to vote, make sure to vote. You know, even out here, you know, where I'm at, you know, in my state of, in Georgia, you know, it's just like, oh, make sure to vote. It just seems to be like the thing that people can care about, you know. But I just think I find it interesting that this segues into what he says about, you know, Kanye, you know, running for president. You know, he's yelling out Kanye for president. I just think that that's very interesting, you know.
Yeah, and let's go to that part. So let me bring it to that particular part of the lyric. So he says, "I'm yelling Mr. Kanye West for president." Okay. Now, keep this in mind, people. Like Take said, we just had a Black Friday. This song was released exactly 7 years ago. 7 years ago. Okay. Why 7 years ago is Kendrick Lamar talking about, I'm yelling Kanye West for president? Why? Kanye's just another MC. Like Take said, another MC / producer. So why is Kendrick Lamar putting this in the verse? Then he follows up with, he'll probably let me get some head inside the residence. Okay. Then he says, I'm in the White House going all out, pumping college dropout. God bless Americans. People, this right here is predictive programming at its best. Now, follow this up with everything that Kanye's doing now and all this thing that people are saying Kanye for president. This man, Kendrick Lamar, already did the predictive programming, already planted the seed in the subconscious minds of many Americans and people around the world, 7 years ago. So now all of a sudden we're seeing these banners and these images of YE for Ye 24. Ye 24 is starting to pop up everywhere. So what I told Take is, what are the chances that Kanye might run for president in 2024? It's very possible. And that he's going to obviously run on the Republican ballot. And what if he's just put as a pawn, like all of them are, to be that controlled opposition against Trump in the party, to go against him for Trump to ultimately win the Republican Party and then go against Biden and then win against Biden. What do you think about that, Take? Because, I know some people may think I'm crazy about what I'm saying right now, but what do you think about that?
No, I don't think it's crazy at all. I mean, even if it doesn't go exactly like that, either way, you know what I'm saying, just him actually joining, just something as simple as him joining the race, that's pretty much, solidifying and pretty much validating everything that we're talking about right now. Because once again, it's like, why say these lyrics? You know what I'm saying? Like, why even make a song like that, foreshadowing all of these events, 7 years ago, and then 7 years later, boom, it just so happens that, he's getting all this publicity and, he's just so in the minds of the masses, almost every other day, it's some type of news article, being brought out about him, something that he might have said, or even like you just said, the interviews that he's been having and all this and that, all this, publicity and energy and attention that he's generating towards himself, and then, this talk of, presidency and actually running, to be to possibly, be elected in office, I mean, I don't think crazy at all, man. You know what I'm saying? Some people will probably be like, oh, no, you're reaching. That's a little bit too far fetched, but you got to connect the dots, man. When you connect the dots, it's clear as day that it's not at all too far from the truth or, too far from a reality of all of these things actually taking place,
I agree. And it's anything is possible. I knew this when George Bush Jr. Took presidency, because I was like, if they could put this buffoon into the presidency, then anything is possible after that. And then it really was, because then they gave you a man that is so-called half black. All right. They gave you a so-called mulatto man as president, and he looks like a black man. Obviously he is. But obviously, a lot of people know that his mother is a so-called white woman. And they won the hearts of Americans almost instantly when he became president, especially when it came to black people. Black people thought that Obama was going to be their savior. And then, of course, we follow it up with, the narcissist, which is none other than Donald J. Trump. And we all know, or at least some of us know, that he is a narcissist. He's very wicked, and he says some of the most dumbest shit you could possibly ever hear. But yet people love him, and they're ready to go to war for this man. And they back him up like I've never seen a man be backed up before, because even on my social media handles, anytime I present information about Donald Trump, they start coming with excuses, especially when it comes to Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, that was a long time ago. And it's like, okay, let's just say it was a long time ago. What is he doing with Jeffrey Epstein when everybody knows what Jeffrey Epstein represents? So if they were friends for a couple of months or even a day or two, and he's got his arm around him, and, for these people are so dumb when it comes to that, because his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein never ended. That was an ongoing relationship. Okay. But just like everybody else that was, I think the word is complicit in the dealings with Jeffrey Epstein, it's like none of it is being discussed anymore. If you notice that, Take. After that lady was supposedly sentenced, which I don't even believe she's going to spend a day in jail. Why is it that the people that they were serving, clients, not one person was brought up in those courtrooms, in those hearings? And obviously we know why. And people defend this man so much, but that same way that they're defending him is the same way that they're defending Kanye now. When you and I we know that he sold his soul to Satan and was bragging about it. We know that he is very conflicted spiritually because he sold his mother as a sacrifice to get himself to where he's at now. If he'd never sacrificed his mother, he would never be in the position financially, with the fame, with the notoriety. None of it would exist right now if he didn't take that oath and make that sacrifice and sign off on that. But yet, even the people this is the crazy part, that even the people that are in the truth, or at least they claim to be, that know this to be true, are now backing him up. It's insane. It makes no sense whatsoever. But yet they're doing it, and they're doing it in the boatloads all over this country and around the world too. But of course, we're focusing on America because America is a place where people are easily deceived. We're one of the only countries that actually believe that we are free and independent when we are very much enslaved. And the difference between us and many other countries is that we willingly participate in our slavery, where other countries are forced into their enslavement. They're forced into supporting the propaganda. They're forced into hearing media that is very tyrannical, where we willingly submit to the tyrannical media and the smoke and mirrors and all the other stuff that comes along with it. So, I want to thank you too, because you pointed this out to me about this lyric, because, you know, I don't really listen to this modern day hip hop much at all. So let me ask you a question. Why do you think people gravitate to celebrities so much? Why do you think they're so interested in the lives of celebrities?
Well, I mean, you just got to look at it from once again, the surface level, point of view. I mean, everything that the celebrities pretty much present to you, whether it be in interviews or at award shows, music videos, et cetera, or I don't know, maybe perhaps a concert or some kind of, some type of public appearance at maybe a certain event. You know what I mean? Like, to the people on the outside looking in, they just think these people are like rock stars. You know what I'm saying? Like, their lives is just so, sunshines and rainbows. The grass is greener on the other side. They got the money. They're not hurting at all for money. They ain't got to struggle a day in their life. Everything is just pretty much given to them on a silver platter. You know what I'm saying? They're not hurting for nothing. You know what I'm saying? They got, cars and all of this material wealth. You know what I'm saying? And I'd say probably the biggest thing is the fame, man. That's probably the biggest. I mean, aside from the possessions and whatnot, it's the fame, man. The notoriety, just the simple fact of being known. I think a lot of that is what drives people, to these celebrities. So it's just like, the appeal and the pizzazz and how, great they make the lifestyle look, because the celebrities themselves, I mean, we know that, just from, for instance, Kanye himself, that, they're obviously not in the happiest state or anything at all like that, because they know, what they've had to do to get to where they are, right? The price that they've had to pay, which is a very, dark and twisted one, you know what I'm saying? A lot of evil associated with it. But besides that, just how depressed they are, but that's how they feel. But the people on the outside looking in, they don't really see it that way. They look at these people like they're gods. You know what I'm saying? They look at them as if they really are the Messiah, and they're just, there to, solve all their problems and put all their worries, to rest. That's why people cling so heavily to them. And on top of that, once again, they can actually see these celebrities, in the flesh. You know what I'm saying? People, they love to actually see things that are like concrete and that are like real. So it's just like, because I know, we've talked about this before, you know what I mean? Like, put somebody in the public's eye and, tell them that, hey, you know what I'm saying, everything is going to be okay. And, I got all the answers, and, I'm going to, help you, or I'm going to save you. And that's enough for people, you know what I'm saying? Because most people, they don't really want to take charge or really take any control over their lives and, researching or anything like that, what's spiritually and morally right for them. But it's like, place this man or place this woman in this place of power, in front of me, and let them do all of the work, and I will follow. You know what I'm saying? You just pretty much lead. And that's also pretty much the mindset, as well, as to why people cling so heavily to them too, because these celebrities, on the surface, it seems like they just know what they're doing. They just got everything figured out, when really they're just as lost as the next soul, man, so.
I agree. And let's do this. We're just going to go over the definition of celebrity and then some of the other questions that are asked here on Google, right? So, right. Celebrity. And let's just make this very clear. When it comes to these people, a lot of them are not even who you think they are. A lot of the females are men and a lot of the men are females. Okay. Because everything in Hollywood, everything in the entertainment industry, it is perverse. It is upside down. It is the representation of the Baphomet. It is the androgynous figure. It is everything that is perverted and wicked. That's what Hollywood represents since its inception. So what is a celebrity? It's a noun. It is a famous person, okay? The state of being well known. Now it says, what makes someone a celebrity? A celebrity is someone who is famous, especially in areas of entertainment, such as movies, music, writing, or sports. In 1944, at the age of 30, Henry suddenly became a celebrity. That's just an example there. Now it says, at what point is someone a celebrity? Well, a celebrity is a person who is well known and gets a lot of public attention or attention from other people. Keyword being attention. And that's what it is, because attention is equivalent to energy, because whatever we give our energy to is what we give our attention to. So that's why these people gain so much power, because we are giving it to them willingly. We are making them important within our subconscious minds and within our conscious minds, because the subconscious is just receiving the information, but the conscious mind is conveying it in a way where it makes sense to us. And that's how we interpret and perceive these things. Because there's no reason why a person like Lil Wayne should be famous. There's no reason why an Ariana Grande, okay, or any of these people. And a lot of these people are not even who you think they are. And it's funny because there's a lot of dudes that think that these celebrities that they see are women are really men. And I'm not going to talk about how there's already been a couple of performances where they actually show you Megan Stallion and Cardi B's penises popping out of their underwear. So a lot of these guys that think, and I thought Cardi B was a woman too, until I had to realize that was a real penis that came out, and she had, they do this whole tucking thing, and it's crazy. But also Megan Stallion's penis came out during a performance. And then she wasn't aware, or he wasn't aware of it at the time. And all of this is footage that you can actually see for yourself, people. Sometimes they pull it, but you can find it. Now, I'm going to go further into the celebrity thing because it's very important. What is celebrity's definition? Well, let's check that out. The state of being celebrated, fame. What is the difference between a celebrity and a famous person? Celebrities usually implies a favorable public image. Well, right now, who's a favorable public image take that we were just talking about?
Kanye West.
There you go. Yay 24. And also Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump is a very favorable public image. It says, as opposed to the neutrals, famous or notable, or the negatives, infamous, notorious. What are the rules of celebrity? Gameplay. One team is chosen to go first, and that team selects a player to give clues to the rest of their team. Play begins when the clue giver picks a name out of the hat. From that moment, they have 1 minute to get their team to guess as many celebrity names possible before time runs out. Now it says, what are celebrities called? No, it says, why are celebrities called celebrities? Which, we call them Celebrites because they are from the tribe of Satan. Says celebrity comes into English at the beginning of the 15th century from the Latin celebritas, meaning fame, or the state of being busy or crowded. Now, how many followers make you a celebrity? Most people don't open their Instagram accounts by their names. How many followers do you need to be a celebrity? For the digital media to call you a celebrity, you need at least 30,000 followers, according to Advertising Standards Authority. The Advertising Standards Authority. Isn't that interesting? All you need is 30,000 followers and you become a celebrity on social media at least. Now, who was the first celebrity in the world? Let's see who this is. Sarah Bernhardt. Due to the public overwhelming interest in her, Sarah Bernhardt, a widely considered to be the world's first celebrity and is still revered today. So isn't that interesting take that this woman has been long dead and gone from the movie industry, but yet she's still revered to present day? What does that tell you?
It doesn't matter whether you're dead or alive, man. Your name, it still pretty much lives on, almost like Chadwick Boseman, right? I mean, even though it's only been, like a year or so since his presumed death, but he's still heavily talked about. So,
very true. And this next question is very interesting because I think about Donald Trump. It says, what makes a celebrity a hero? Movie stars and royalty are often considered heroes by those who find inspiration in their talent, perseverance, generosity, and leadership. So according to his so-called leadership, Donald Trump is considered a hero to many, many Americans. It says, what is celebrity culture's simple definition? Starting with media culture definition, celebrity culture is a conceptualized as collections of sense-making practices whose main resources of meaning are celebrity. Consequently, celebrity cultures are necessarily plural. Are celebrities born or made? The true great actors are indeed born. But this is important. They will not realize their true potential unless they are trained. They must be taught to harness the natural instincts which they are born so that they can create the role and inhabit the imaginary world the writer has placed them in. Woo! Let's read that again. They must be taught to harness the natural instincts with which they are born so that they can create the role and inhabit the imaginary world that the writer has placed them in. This has been happening throughout history, people. And this is what Hollywood is the writer that inhabits the imaginary world that they feed our subconscious mind and place these people in them to seem important. Now, another thing, are celebrities above the law? Celebrities are not above the law and they should face the full price of their actions. Now does that really ever happen? Do we ever see celebrities pay the price for their actions?
Hardly.
Very rarely. And usually when they do, it's because Hollywood has had enough with them. Satan already knows their time is up. They probably already fulfilled their contract for the time that they were going to be famous and wealthy, and he's done with them. So it's time to X them out. I just want to read a couple of more things here. And it says, what are synonyms for the celebrities? So here are some synonyms. Figure, hero, luminary, personage, personality, someone, star, superstar. And this is what I'm talking about, people, is we have to, if we're going to really say that we're truth seekers and that we're in this truth, especially those of us that are giving praise to the Most High, and, we're in this system where we believe these people to be important, you have to ask yourself, are you really giving praise to the Most High? Are you really about this truth when you know that these people are part of a system, of a web of control that is all controlled by Satan? It doesn't make sense to think that these people are going to turn another leaf, especially somebody like Kanye who already sold his soul. You think that he could just be like, okay, Satan, I don't want to deal with you no more. I know I sold my soul, but I'm just going to turn another leaf. And but I'm still going to keep all this money you gave me. I'm still going to keep all this notoriety you gave me, but I'm going to go against you. That doesn't even make sense, people. And that's why I'm doing this show, because hopefully with Take and I, we can wake some of the people up that are caught in this spell of thinking that these people are somewhat righteous or that they have some goodness in them that not all of a sudden that they're expressing. When in reality, like Take and I know and many others, is that this is nothing but controlled opposition that was introduced through some form of predictive programming, like it was in this Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole song called Black Friday 7 years ago. So Take, anything you want to mention to what I was just reading that you want to add to when it comes to this, these definitions of what celebrity means and the effect that it has on the masses?
Well, as far as what it means, I mean, it's pretty much, like nursery rhymes. I mean, that's exactly, what it is as far as, the attention and being very well known and all those things. But, as far as the effect that it has on the public, oh man, shit. I mean, it has a massive, massive effect on the public, and I think the reason, and, this is my opinion, but you pretty much just kind of shedded the light on this, and your, and what you just pretty much said, your, dialogue as far as, with the Most High, because with these celebrities, it's just, they take such a precedence over the minds of the people to where it's just like, once again, they believe in them so heavily and they cling to their every word, in their heart of hearts, they feel like these guys are going to save them. Like, that's why they so badly want Trump back in office. Because when Trump first took office, right, they're just like, oh man, make America great again, make America great again. I mean, they really believe that this man is like the Messiah and he's going to literally just, resolve all their worries and all their doubts and whatever is, weighing on them. And I'm just like, he's just a man just like you. Can't one man just make everything better and everything great? And that just goes to show, the lack of faith in society these days, because, rather than believing in the Most High and his son, who he sent for us, to die for us, once, sent to die for us once, right? So that we can, be saved, by the shedding of his blood and, salvation, rather than putting their trust and really putting their wholehearted faith in that. They'd much rather rely on these celebrities who's, once again, right then and there, right in their faces, on the surface level, and would much rather believe in them and put their faith in them and cling to them, as if they're going to save them. It has a very, very huge effect. I mean, to the extent to where it's just like, if any of them were to just come out and just, tell them, perhaps, oh man, well, if you were to do this, like for instance, I'm trying to be, well, actually, no. Since we're on since this won't be actually played on like YouTube or anything, the vaccine, right?
Well, no, actually it will be distributed, but it's okay that you said that word, but if you're going to describe something about it, just call it the vaccine or the science appliance, and we're good with that.
Right, the vaccine. Okay, yeah, my apologies about that. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I mean, if you were to just, grab any of these, high-level celebs, and I mean, even though they've already done this, but I'm talking about just very, very blatantly, like even more blatantly, so you just take you just collect, several high, public, celebs, right? And they're just all telling you, oh no, you have to take it. You have to take it and your kids have to take it. I'm pretty sure, you would have an increase in the amount of people who are actually, taking it, just because, this celebrity said it, and that's the effect that they have on them. And that's why these elites, they use these celebrities so, heavily to their advantage to manipulate the minds of the public, so, yeah.
Yeah. And, I don't know, like, it's like, I see things with my spiritual eyes, and I keep seeing this Ye 24, man. And I'm just seeing so much airplay that he's getting right now. It's like I was saying earlier, he's literally on a different platform almost every day now. He's literally being stopped in the streets by different people and now entertaining, speaking to them. Because remember, there was a time, when he didn't want to talk to nobody in the media? Right, he didn't want to deal with not one reporter, not one journalist. Now all of a sudden, he's like, he's telling you the truth, but for controlled opposition purposes. Yeah, they deemed us crazy because they put him in the loony bin. They did that that electrolysis thing to him. They did a bunch of stuff to him. But the chances are that that's not even the original Kanye West that we all know that came into the industry. I think a lot of that person that we're seeing right now is a clone. And we all know that cloning is real. But I always tell people, if he was really coming out with truth, if he was really against the system, if he was really against this beast draconian system, he would not have any money. He would be dead because he already sold his soul. And he's gotten too much from Satan to just turn away and say, I'm done, and not have any repercussions from that. He's still got a shitload of money. He's still doing his thing. He's still got fashion and all of that. And he still has an influence. And he's having an influence on a lot of so-called Jewish networks. So how is that possible if he's so anti-Shemitic or Semitic? When it comes to this thing with Kanye and with Trump right now, that we're going to start seeing unfold even more in the year 2023, I just feel like it is a level of lies and manipulation that is on steroids, that is very high level manipulation. And the sad part about all this is that a lot of people, many people are giving their attention to this, and they're believing and trusting in this. They are trusting in everything that Kanye is saying, and they're looking at Kanye as if he's some type of hero right now. And just like they're looking at Trump, they're looking at Kanye the same way now. And what are the chances that you have two heroes going neck and neck and head on in a presidential Republican race, or I forgot what they call it, the preliminary candidate race for the Republican Party? You know what type of shit show that would produce going into 2023 or in mid 2023, whenever it happens? Either way, we're all going to find out sooner than later. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, I'm going to take a quick instrumentation, and I just want to play a song that Take One and I did a while back. It's actually the first song that him and I ever put out together. And this particular song, some of you may have heard it, but some of the new listeners have not. This is called The Power of Music. And pay close attention, because we drop a lot of knowledge and information in this song, especially when it comes to the works of the Most High versus the works of Satan, and how music is a very powerful and influential force throughout the world. So let's go.
Mind of the soldier, whole stars deep as an ocean. He chose and focused, devoted to get a crown in the road with it. Road is narrow and focused, you can tell by the way in which he flows with it. None of these rappers, y'all opposers, a lost soul in them. Holding them all accountable for the music, controlling them. Countless of hundred thousands of soulless people supporting them. Righteous music accounts, most folks won't go to them. Don't worry about it, cause Yahweh knows who the chosen is. Shalom to them for constantly dropping projects for y'all to spin. Food for the spirit, once you hear it, now you confident. Daily battle, fighting hard like we in a boxing gym. Babylon ain't looking to no more, she needs oxygen. Got the win, still got motions floating that we got to live. Positive, roller coaster, corporate, watch you cooperative. Jab now, cry later, just not with the consequence. Zombies swelling in the dark, my direction where Yahweh is. Destined for greatness, but not the kind that you thinking of. Pointless being famous in a realm that the demons run. Yet, you still got takers who make it vibrations. Elated eagles and cadences leave you feeling all vacant. Cause Satan tanks them and breaks them and makes them look real amazing. The gaze and phase in the matrix, embracing the vacant awaken. The cake and bacon temptation persuades to change your foundation. If Yahweh in your brain, then we end up this population. In one's life lies out and Satan's truth inside. In one's life lies out and Satan's truth inside. In one's life lies out and Satan's truth inside. A lot of righteous haters try to play both sides. In one's life lies out and Satan's truth inside. In one's life lies out and Satan's truth inside. In one's life lies out and Satan's truth inside. A lot of righteous haters try to play both sides.
Every time I hear that song, I get goosebumps. I get like this adrenaline rush. Because I know that the Most High was very present in that song when we was putting it together. The Most High was in the room with us, just guiding us to put this song together. With that being said, brother, this is going to be the first installment of Celebrites, the Tribe of Satan. So I'm pretty much going to wrap up this broadcast. So is there any final comments or final statement that you want to leave the listeners with in regards to this episode of the Spiritual Fire and Fellowship series, Celebrites, the Tribe of Satan?
Well, first and foremost, I mean, like I said, it's an honor that, you invited me to, of course, be on the show and everything like that, especially since this is the first installment. I mean, wow, all praises, man. I mean, it's very, very much an honor, but since you pretty much are wrapping up the show, I mean, I guess the last thing I guess I can leave with the, for the listeners is to just, really be mindful of, how much of an emphasis and, how much of a value you place on these celebrities, man. Just be very mindful and be very careful about that. I mean, one scripture I just want to quickly bring out, before we end this is Galatians chapter 5. Quite honestly, it's probably the scripture that I cling to the most because just within, from Galatians chapter 5, from, 18, pretty much going all the way down. I mean, it pretty much shows you everything that we're dealing with as human beings, just being in the flesh. I mean, just in 19 alone, where it says, now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of which I tell you before, as I have told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of, Elohim, right? So, I mean, you just look at this list of all these things that the flesh consists of and how easily it is to, give ourselves into it if we don't practice, the fruits of the spirit. And one of those fruits of the spirit being, self-control, which is, temperance, because when you look at this list of, the works of the flesh, idolatry is essentially what you're doing, when you give all of this praise and place all of this value on these celebrities, man. I mean, I understand, giving credit where credit is due, what I'm saying, that type of mentality, if that's just, kind of how you want to go about things. But when you really, really place these people on a pedestal in place of the Most High Messiah, and that's more so what you're focused on, that's what you're giving and devoting all your time and energy to. I mean, like I said, it's something you got to be very, very much careful about, because we know that these, individuals, they're not off the hook. They're not off the chain, right? They're all control, and they're all just used as pawns, for our destruction, essentially. I'm saying? They're really just leading us down a path of destruction, when we really give them all of our trust and, place all of our faith in them. So I just say, to reiterate, just be mindful of how much, value you place in, into these people. Don't put them don't put them in place of the Most High and Messiah. Always remember that's the Most High Messiah that's going to save you, and that's going to give you all the things that you need, and that's going to lead you and guide you, in your life, for the better. So always keep the Most High first, in His Christ, and just continue to fight the good fight, man. I mean, we're in a spiritual warfare, and in 2023, it definitely is going to be a hell of a year, man. I mean, we're already seeing glimpses of it right now as we're pretty much in the finale of 2022, right? So, yeah, man. I mean, once again, it was just an honor to be on the show, or, thank you for having me on, and man, it's going to be, a hell of a season 5, so.
Yeah, brother. Thank you for coming on to season 5 for the first time, and great understandings. And we are going to keep fighting the good fight, the righteous fight. And we're going to keep, giving praise and letting people know that they have to come back to the Most High. They have to come back to the Messiah. They have to really come back with an open heart and really just be about this truth, because the truth does set you free. And the only truth is the Most High. The Most High is the only truth, is the only way. And through the Messiah, through, if you want to call him Yahweh, Christ, whatever, right? We all have different languages. So come back to the truth if you haven't already, and really be an example of the truth so that you can spread that light to others that are seeking it, others that may not know about it. Because this thing with celebrities, these people are going to lead you down a dark path, people, a very dark path. And when it's at the end of the day, these Celebrites, this tribe of Satan, they don't give a rat's ass about you. Okay. You are nothing to them. And if they could sacrifice you to Satan and had the opportunity to do so, they would do it in a millisecond. Don't forget that. There's nothing to celebrate. Celebrate your mother. Celebrate your father. You know, if there's anybody that you're going to celebrate the people that have proven worthy of your love and admiration. And most importantly, if you really want to give praise and celebrate the Most High, because without the Most High, none of us would be here having this spiritual experience in the physical form. So with that being said, brothers and sisters, like I always say, when you live in the present, there is always an opportunity for a new beginning. And don't look for the light at the end of the tunnel, because the light is and always will be within you. So, light up the tunnel and find your way through the darkness. This is ORRA the Informationalist with Take One from Thinking to Rise. Signing off here on the Network of Awareness. Peace, love, and light. Barakatah, and all praises to the Most High, always and forever. Peace, brothers and sisters.
This concludes the Network of Awareness podcast. For more information on the Network of Awareness, please subscribe via email to our website, networkofawareness.com, and follow us on Spreaker.com or any other listening apps you use. For any questions about the NOA, email us at ORRA@networkofawareness.com. Thank you for listening to one of the fastest growing podcast shows on society and culture in America and abroad. When you live in the present, there's always an opportunity for a new beginning. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings.
The show is called Music, Satan's Favorite Gateway, because music can be a demonic portal. What I mean by that, you know, everybody knows the popular quote, what goes in must come out, all right? Because whatever you feed your mind and soul is going to eventually reflect in your actions and your thoughts.
It's a fight to the finish, just like Tyson and Tillis. The spirit guides me to finish. To touch you, I hope you feel it. No doubting that's for the pigeons. Fist right to the villain of evil, manipulating this generation of children. Things I see in the media got me heated up. Girls barely in their teens used for pedophilia. Celebrities simply misleading them. How can you live with yourself knowing damn well that you deceiving them? Feeding them nonsensical bullshit for their mental, like it's cool to be famous when you know it's detrimental. Y'all convince them that it's hard work, dedication, and God. Last time I checked, we give all our praises straight to Yahweh. Hey, come on, the music is more than just vibes. It keeps us pushing forward every day of our lives. It's my 9 to 5 to do it and do it right. You know I gotta stay on the grind. If deception was the only way that I could reach the me, I would stop rapping in a heartbeat. Music is a way of praising Father Yahweh Elohim, but Babylon tells you chase the dream. Infinite songs, but only 1/3 of it is living up to what it's supposed to be. Thank Elohim for the remnant who understands the power of music.
The fear of COVID got people so petrified. If one's life lies out of Satan, choose a side. A lot of righteous haters try to play both sides. They lack faith and work, so spirit stays penalized. I realize life is hard without the Most High, and he who knows there's much to learn is really wise. Mad grateful to be alive to see the sun rise. Try to stop my vibes, I'm exercising swords and arms. I'm in my prime, righteously prepared to shine and grind. So shock this surprise every time you analyze my rhymes. Cause ORRA's in line with stars you can't even find. I spit that light that leaves chills up and down your spine. You coulda, woulda, but didn't. Who you kidding? In my fans, frontin' forbidden. Who the fuck is you fibbing? You better think twice before you think I'm tripping on y'all children. If you feel hard, then we gonna make you harder. Hear it?
If deception was the only way that I could reach the me, I would stop rapping in a heartbeat. Music is a way of praising Father Yahweh Elohim, but Babylon tells you chase the dream.
Infinite songs, but only 1/3 of it is living up to what it's supposed to be. Thank Elohim for the women who understands the power of music.
You feel like music influences your behavior or people's behavior?
If you allow music to do it, it's a difference. You know, like I said, there's people out here who could consume music one way and not, well, at least they feel that they're not affected by it. There's other people who live their life through music. Like, anything that certain artists say is Bible to them.